What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, daily news, everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., with the economy, money, investing, the stock market, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here as this new Omicron variant is just going crazy. Lawmakers are discussing new stimulus, and there's a lot going on here across our country. Let's jump right in. Okay, first up, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says that a stockpile of up to 1 million virus tests expired in late December, and is also announcing a plan to send 1 million tests to Florida seniors. Check this out. Kevin Guthrie, the director of Florida's Division of Emergency Management, joined Ron DeSantis at the press conference and disclosed the gaffe in response to the questions from reporters, saying, quote, "We had between 800,000 and 1 million test kits, Abbott rapid test kits in our warehouse that did expire," Guthrie says. He added that the tests expired in the last week of December. He said that there wasn't adequate demand to use them. I'm not sure about that because at least where I'm at, and I've been seeing stories all across the nation that CVS, Walmart, and online stores like CVS, Walmart, and online stores across the nation are sold out nationwide. You can't even go and buy them online for the entire country. So you can let me know if you buy the whole there was no demand for 1 million tests. I'm not sure if I'm buying that one. Again, I don't lean either way, right or left. But to say there's not demand for 1 million tests that expired, it kind of sounds like maybe they forgot they were there or something along those lines, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. DeSantis added that he was asking the Biden administration to extend the expiration dates on the batch of tests. That's interesting. The purpose of the press conference, which Insider attended, was to announce plans to send 1 million at-home virus tests to nursing homes and long-term care facilities and other residences with high numbers of seniors in the state. The stockpile of expired tests was first probed by Nikki Fried, the commissioner of the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, who is running the Democratic gubernatorial nomination in hopes of defeating DeSantis. They said on a December 30th statement, "It's come to my attention that Governor DeSantis' Department of Health had a significant number of virus tests stockpiled that are set to expire imminently. Quote, there's no known public information about these tests or how soon they expire. So we might not have even known about this if it weren't for this. With Omicron infections exploding throughout Florida, I beg of him to release these tests immediately to local counties and cities and to stand up to state-sponsored testing sites. To let these tests expire while Floridians anxiously wait for hours in testing lines is negligent at best and heartless at worst." Meanwhile, we have a teachers unions voting across the country to shut down schools as we have many different school systems, about 10% of the entire country now going virtual and closing down school systems. Even the president confirmed this. Chicago has now voted, the Chicago teacher unions votes in favor of returning to remote learning, as some people are unhappy with this, some people are in favor with this, but the Chicago Teacher Union just voted in favor to return to remote learning. Baltimore County schools prepare for potential transitions to virtual learning as well. And we could be seeing a lot more because of how many cases, how many people are testing positive. We're at like almost 700,000 people right now on average per day, new cases, not even including the people that take at home tests. As you can see here, the 7-day average is 673,000 people per day, new people testing positive. And yesterday, 898,000 people tested positive. Almost 900,000 new people just yesterday tested positive in one day. And the day before that, 759,000 people tested positive. Yikes. Yeah, you can see the hotspots there in that graph. I might be a little bit in the way. Um, Anywhere that's a populated area, New York, Florida, Texas, California, whether it's a Democratic state, a Republican state, it's everywhere. Uh, this virus is not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's everywhere. Also, here's an interesting story I seen on why your tax refund may be smaller this year. Now that we're in 2022, people are getting ready to file their tax returns. Couple interesting things I've seen here. Check this out, and then I'll give you some kind of my thoughts here afterwards.
If you were banking on a nice, healthy tax refund this year, try not to get your hopes up and plan accordingly. Remember all that really helpful pandemic financial relief the government gave out last year? Well, if you got any of it, your tax refund may be smaller than you expected. Some of you might actually owe money to the government. Let me explain this through the life of our friend Betty. Betty, as you know, is a working mother. If you watch this show, you know that the pandemic's not been particularly kind to her financially, and she's about to find out that tax day is going to put her in a financial hole. Betty's been collecting the expanded child tax credit for her 5-year-old son, you know him, Bobby. The American Rescue Plan, signed by President Joe Biden last March, boosted the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000 per child aged 17 and under, with an extra $600 for children who are under 6. Now, this was a game changer for Betty last year, but she received half the credit up front in the form of $300 monthly payments, meaning she's going to have a smaller write-off when it comes time to file her taxes. Now, like many adults, Betty's still paying off her student loans. She's one of nearly 49 million Americans who owe a total of $1.57 trillion in student loans today. And Betty nearly doubled her debt by going to graduate school for a degree in a field that she didn't end up pursuing. Betty, like 90% of student loan borrowers, has been taking advantage of the pause on federal student loan payments, which was another financial life raft at a time when Betty and her family were just keeping their heads above water. But like the child tax credit, it was a trade-off because Betty is not going to be able to write off her federal student loan interest when it comes time to file her taxes for 2021. Now, Betty and her partner are smart with their money. They both have investments in mutual funds, and those did pretty well last year, but some of those mutual funds are not invested in a 401k, which means any gains that the fund took are taxable. And there's more. At the beginning of 2021, Betty's partner was out of a job because of the pandemic and was collecting unemployment benefits. The American Rescue Plan offered a tax break on a certain amount of unemployment collected in 2020. But there's no indication that Congress is going to pass a law to offer a similar tax break for unemployment that was received in 2021. So for now, at least, Betty's partner will be paying more in taxes on their unemployment benefits than they did in 2020. Betty is a pretty normal American. She received the child tax credit, she paused her federal student loan payments, she made money on mutual funds, and her partner collected unemployment in 2021. All of that equals a smaller refund, or perhaps even a tax bill. One thin silver lining, Betty's got a little extra time to get her taxes together this year. The IRS has extended the tax filing deadline from April 15th to May 17th. So get organized ahead of time, manage your expectations, and plan accordingly. Betty's going to put Bobby to bed early tonight and start digging in on her taxes right away, but not without a big glass of red wine because, as you know, Betty likes wine.
Now, a couple things here. I've been a businessman for a long time, so I know a pretty good amount of tax stuff. And also, my father-in-law, my wife's father, who's like a second father to me, is an accountant, and obviously he knows a lot about taxes as well. When it comes to the child tax credits, they increased it from 2,000 to 3,000 to $3,600 per child. When we're being honest here, you'd rather get 3,000 to $3,600 as a write-off compared to 2,000. No matter how you slice it, if someone gives you $3,000 compared to 2,000, you always want to take 3,000. Whether you get half now and half later, there's just no questions about it. You want 3,000 instead of 2,000. Okay. Now remember that most people got half through the monthly payments, and the other half is still coming on your tax returns. Okay. The first 6 payments you didn't get; they didn't start the monthly payments until July. So everybody's still going to get the other half on their tax refunds. So worst case scenario, you're still getting $1,500 per child. So you're still getting 1,500. So you might not get that 2,000. You're still going to get 1,500, and you got the other $1,500 throughout the year. So maybe you got $1,500 throughout the year, and you're getting another 1,500. So keep that in mind. So yeah, you might not be getting $2,000 as a write-off at the end of the year, but you're still getting 1,500 and you got 1,500 throughout the year. That's a win, no matter how you look at it. Now, what's going to happen for 2022 is a different story because they haven't passed it, and I'll keep you up to date with that. When it comes to student loans, again, you have to look at things not as a negative person because student loans have been paused for I don't even know how many months now, like what, like 2 years now or something like that. So think about all the interest you've saved. If you're there's about 1 in 6 adults that have had student loan payments paused at this point. So you've been saving hundreds or thousands of dollars in interest that you haven't had to pay. You haven't had to pay the whole payments. It's like not having to pay your car payment for 2 years, getting to drive the car for 2 years. Now, of course, if you have student loans, we're hoping that they do, or you're hoping, whoever, right? You're hoping that they forgive $10,000 or more of student loan forgiveness in the future. But for the time being, they've completely paused your payments, paused your interest, paused garnishments if you have anything like that for the time being, which is kind of the next best thing. Now, what he mentioned there is that you don't have the write off, you don't have the interest write off. But that's like saying, um, the analogy would be if you paid $1,000 in student loan interest, you don't get to write off the $1,000 on your taxes. Well, if you're in a 22% tax bracket, you would have got to basically a 22% savings. It's kind of the best way to look at it. So if you paid $1,000 in student loan interest, you would have saved about 22% of that. Is kind of the easiest way to look at that, right? If you're a businessman, when you have a write-off, that's kind of the best way to look at it. You look at what tax bracket you're in, and whenever you have a write-off, that's about how much you save. It's kind of the easiest way to look at things. So if you same thing with student loans or any type of write-off is kind of the easiest way to look at it. A lot of people think, oh, it's a write-off, it's free. It's not free. You basically kind of save whatever your tax bracket is. Kind of the simple way to look at things. So again, you'd still rather not pay the $1,000 in interest. The student loan payment pause is much, much better because you didn't pay the 1,000. Okay, but if you would have had to pay the $1,000 in interest throughout the year, you would have then write off the $1,000 on your taxes, and then you would have saved about $220 if you're in the 22% tax bracket. If you're only in the 12% tax bracket per se, you would have only saved 12%, which is about $120. Now, if you would have paid $2,000 in interest on your student loans, then you would have paid double that. Or if you would have paid $5,000 in student loan interest, right? You get the gist, right? Whatever your tax bracket is, you can just basically take that percentage of what your interest you would have paid. You can kind of do the math if you know how much your payments were and how much the interest was. You can kind of figure that out. Same thing with your mortgage. If you write off your mortgage interest, if you don't just take the standard deduction, you can kind of figure that out as well. That's the kind of the gist of how write-offs work. If you don't just file the standard deduction, and or if you have a business, if you have a small business and you write off your expenses, That's how it works. That's how basically how it works. So, yeah, a lot of different things going on there, and I'm going to have a lot of other tips here for you going forward as well. In a recent video, I mentioned the Savers Credit, where you can get an extra $1,000 to $2,000 write off or stimulus check or stimulus refund back to you if you put money in a retirement fund in 2021 in an IRA, in a Roth IRA, in a 401k, in a pension fund, in any type of retirement fund. If you put money in there in 2021, you can get an extra $1,000 to $2,000 back from the IRS or as a write-off for yourself. So basically, free money of $1,000 to $2,000. I'll link you to that video here in a moment. You definitely want to check this out. It's a lot of people don't even know about it, so they miss it on their taxes. I just did a video that has that in it. Definitely want to check that out because it's like free money that you get it just for watching the show. A lot of people miss that on their taxes. Here's another interesting video from White House economic advisor Brian Deese on the state of the economy and inflation. Check this out.
You know, we talk a lot on our air about stocks at record highs and record number of jobs added and jobless claims at the lowest level since 1969. But it's clearly not showing up, at least in our polling data. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm not a pollster, but I do think that the American people have been through a tough couple of years and understandably are frustrated and anxious about the current situation. I also think that we are in a very different situation than we were a year ago, and there are lots of reasons to believe that we can continue making strong economic progress. So our focus is really on delivering tangible results, because I think at the end of the day, what the American people are focused on is less the rhetoric or the political talking points and fights, and instead what we can get done. So if you look at something very concrete, like the challenges of the supply chain earlier this fall, there was a lot of concern that packages wouldn't get delivered on time for the holiday season. We spent a lot of time working with the ports, with businesses, with labor, and otherwise trying to help unstick some of those bottlenecks, and have made a lot of progress on that front. That's the kind of practical focus that we're trying to bring here to solve problems that are connected to the practical challenges that people are facing in their lives, and certainly prices and costs are high up there.
Yeah. I wonder if you think it's a comment on just how powerful an inflationary mindset is. You mentioned supply chain. The market PMI data yesterday showed delivery delays lowest since May, backlogs lowest in 10 months. We got some encouraging prices paid data a few moments ago. How much is riding on this trend, this data trend continuing?
Well, I think we're in a very unique moment, and obviously the economy and the virus are inextricably linked. That has been true for some time, and it certainly has been what we have been saying for some time. So I think that it's hard to extrapolate on current sentiment in a very precise way. But I do think that there are reasons to believe that we are getting our way through some of these supply chain challenges. Obviously, the Omicron variant poses new risks, but if you look at the goods movement flow through the logistics supply chain, there are a lot of reasons to believe that as we come out of this holiday surge, we have been able to address some of those principal bottlenecks. And so certainly we're going to stay focused on it and not downplay or dismiss the risks that are on the horizon. But at the same time, a lot of reason to believe that we can work through these issues over the next couple of quarters and get ourselves back to more normal operating rhythm.
Well, Brian, given that, I'm just curious then, what are your expectations for inflation? It does seem to measure very prominently in the psyche of voters, and you've got the midterms coming up, only, 9-10 months from now. So, you know, how and what is inflation going to look like, let's call it, by next fall?
Well, I think if we continue to take steps right now, what we can do is we continue to propel forward a strong economic recovery while reducing those price pressures. And I think if we can do that, we will see what most independent forecasters project, which is moderation in the price increases through the second half of next year. Look, we have some of the strongest economic growth underlying this economic recovery that we've seen in decades. We have the strongest labor market that we have seen in quite some time. And we have household incomes and household balance sheets that are in a historically strong position, even when taking into account price increases. So we have a unique opportunity, unique to the United States. Other industrialized countries are not in this position to address these problems from a position of relative economic strength. I think if we do that, and we do that over the next couple of quarters, we'll see that moderation that, again, most independent forecasters are projecting.
So even from the White House, it sounds like inflation is going to be here for quite a while throughout 2022. Maybe by the end of 2022, we'll start to see it come down. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll link it to a good video I did here just in a moment here about stimulus checks, $2,000 potentially here with new information that just came out. If you're new to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on our new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After subscribing, click the bell icon so you get reminders when we go live. You can also click the share button down below to share this video with your friends and family so that they can join our community and they can watch this video as well. You can click this video here to watch the video about the $2,000 stimulus checks next. And this video is about the $1,000 to $2,000 tax credit if you invested money into your retirement account in 2021, how to claim that as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.